Thank you for coming, Dr. Cliff. We'd like to ask you a few questions regarding drug addiction amongst young people these days.
Thank you for having me. Go ahead.
Dr. Cliff, what is substance abuse and addiction?
It's a condition that results when a person ingests substance such as alcohol, cocaine, or nicotine, that can be pleasurable, but the continued use of which becomes compulsive, and interferes with ordinary life responsibilities, such as work, academics, relationships, or health.
If drug addiction causes so many problems, why do individuals choose this lifestyle?
Addicted persons may not be aware that their behavior is out of control and causing problems for themselves and others. Hence, drug addiction is a complex illness characterized by compulsive, and at times, uncontrollable drug craving, seeking, and use that persist even in the face of extreme negative consequences.
What drugs are most addictive?
Common substance that people get addicted to include marijuana, cocaine, alcohol, barbiturates, and benzodiazepines, as well as methamphetamine, and other stimulants.
What are club drugs?
Club drugs are the drugs commonly used by teens and young adults at clubs, concerts, and parties. Examples include ecstasy, GHB, rohypnol, and ketamine. These drugs are not all classified in the same category, but they share some similar effects and dangers.
How does drug abuse and addiction affect the individual and the community?
Drug abuse and addiction are unfortunately quite common, affecting 7% and more than 2% of people at some point in their lives, respectively. The negative consequences of drugs affect not only individuals who abuse drugs, but also their families and friends, businesses, and government resources. Although many of these effects cannot be quantified, NIDA recently reported that in 2012, the economic cost of drug abuse to the United States was $480.9 billion per annum. Costs result from diseases, crime, accidents, child abuse, domestic violence, homelessness, and lost wages.
What are the most serious consequences of drug addiction?
Alcohol abuse, smoking and illegal drug use causes 1 in 4 deaths and many other serious economic and social consequences. More than 75% of domestic violence cases were committed by a person using alcohol or drugs. Drugs often combined with alcohol are used by 10 to 22% of drivers involved in accidents.
Any messages for our viewers?
Yes. Too often, addiction goes untreated. 23.2 million people aged 12 or older needed treatment for an illicit drug or alcohol problem in 2007. Of these individuals, 2.4 million, 10.4% of those who needed treatment, received treatment at a specialty facility. Thus, 20.8 million persons, 8.4% of the population aged 12 or older, needed treatment for an illicit drug or alcohol use problem but did not receive it. Overcoming addiction is not simply a matter of willpower or discipline alone. Prolonged exposure to drugs alters the brain in ways that result in powerful cravings and compulsion. Recovery can begin at any point in the addiction process, and the earlier, the better. The longer drug abuse continues, the stronger the addiction becomes and the harder it is to treat. Don't wait to intervene until the addict has lost it all. Recovery from drug addiction is a long process that often involves setbacks. Relapse doesn't mean that treatment failed. Rather, it's a signal to get back on track, either by going back to treatment or adjusting the treatment approach. If you're worried about yourself, a friend or family member's drug use, it's important to know that help is available.